So I have a rectangular shape using my pattern. I will now double click on my pattern with or without that shape selected. It doesn't matter. I double click and I will draw some stars around the moon. So I will grab the star tool and start making some stars. The first one like that. Good. And I will duplicate it with the black arrow tool and the Alt key like that. And then move them around and resize them. Make some of them smaller with the free transform tool and the shift key, or larger. So that's just an example of creating a pattern. Good. I may also rotate some of the stars, of course. Great. So this is a pattern. Once you've done that, you go out of the isolation mode with the breadcrumb and you will save the file, and we'll grab some photo of a teddy bear on the internet and put it in our pattern. So go onto the internet and type teddy bear. You may type public domain in quotes like that, and that way you'll find some teddy bears that you are allowed to use. We'll try to find an easy teddy bear like this first one. Why not? Or maybe you have another one like this one. Okay, it's not really, there's not a lot of pixels in that picture, so maybe that's not a good choice. Choose a teddy bear which is on a white background. Okay, the first one will be okay. So once you're here, choose display picture and save that picture into your folder. You may rename it. Good. Did you find your teddy bear? Go into Photoshop and we will remove that white background with Photoshop. So you are in Photoshop and you open, oh sorry, it is in French. Damn. Okay. Well, so since my Photoshop has been installed in several languages, I'm able to switch from one language to the other easily, just by going into the interface preferences of Photoshop and asking for another language. You may have your Adobe softwares installed in more than 25 languages, 25 different languages, if you wish. Okay, I have my Photoshop in English, and I will open now my teddy bear JPEG picture. F key to go full screen. So once it's opened in Photoshop, it's not anymore a JPEG picture. The file format is only when the picture is on the hard drive, but here it's opened in Photoshop and it's not a JPEG picture, it's just pixels into Photoshop. For beginners, for starters, it's not always easy to understand that a picture opened in Photoshop is completely independent from its format on the hard drive. It's just pixels into Photoshop. So let's check the layers panel, and we have a layer, and we will have to remove the white background. There are several ways to do it. I will try this one. Let's try with the magic wand tool. Click on the white background, and that's not all. You have to do some more things, otherwise it will be a mess. So did you select the white background with the magic wand? Like that. You will inverse the selection. You're going to select inverse. So now what is selected here is the teddy bear. We will decrease the size of the selection by going to select, modify, contract. Okay, I will contract it by, since it's a small picture in terms of number of pixels, I think 3 pixels will contract already a lot. Let's try it. 3 pixels. Yes, good. Let's display the selection with pixels by using the quick mask mode here, or the Q shortcut on the keyboard. So you go from the marching ants selection to the selection displayed in pixels, transparent pixels. If you wish to modify the color, you just double click on the quick mask, and here you may change the color like that. Double clicking on the quick mask, and you may change the color. Never switch to selected areas. Always stay stuck to masked areas, but you may modify the color, but not color indicates. Otherwise you will not understand what is happening in your Photoshop. So I display the selection in pixels, and when you zoom on the selection you will see it is sharp, it is not blurry, and my teddy bear has softness, so I have to put softness on my selection with the blur filter, blur, Gaussian blur, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and that's it. You have the preview checked here, and as you may see it is blurry, so do not put too much radius, of course. Do not put too little radius. You just have to watch what happens to your selection and put radius in order to make the selection a little bit blurry, to be just as the softness of the teddy bear. I know that teddy bear is really sweet, so make some softness around it. Okay, and go back to the marching ants selection mode with the quick mask here once it's done. So that's one way to put blurriness onto a selection made with a magic wand here. The magic wand always makes selection which are sharp with no blurriness, but you may put blurriness with the quick mask and the blur filter, Gaussian blur filter. Good. So our background layer is locked. You cannot modify the transparency. You will double click on the layer. Okay. So you double clicked on the background layer. Now it is named layer 0. And the opacity, the transparency of that layer, you may modify it. And we will modify it by adding a mask onto it. So you will just have to click on that icon, add layer mask, and then the selection disappears and is transformed into a layer mask with softness. Great. If the teddy bear is not showing when you've done that, use Control I on the Windows PC or Command I, or go into image adjustment and ask for invert. It is if the teddy bear is not showing, if you end up with something like that, you just have to go to image adjustment, invert, and that's okay. It means that your background was selected and not your teddy bear. Then you will save the file in PSD format, of course. You forget about the JPEG format, we don't use it anymore. You have to save it into PSD format. A JPEG format is not able to include transparency. At least that version of JPEG is not able to include transparency. Good. And you go back into Illustrator. We still have our rectangle with the pattern.